Welcome to Narrative. My name is Veronica, and today I want to do something light and fun. So we are going to be tier ranking romance tropes. We are moving in a few days, so yeah, that's basically why I want to do something that would be very easy for me to create because I don't have the brain power, the space, or anything really to be making a thoughtful talking head sit down discussion piece. So we are just gonna have some fun instead. Okay, let's kind of jump right into it. So I know that my face is covering a few of the little cute images, but it is because this page is currently covered in ads, so I've stretched it out a little bit to kind of not have to deal with that in post. So as we go through them, we will be the people that, or the stuff that is right behind me here, will be revealed, is what I'm saying. Now I picked this one because I love cats and these are super cute. There are other romance trope tier ranking templates, but oh my god, they're so cute. So here we are. Like, I couldn't resist. So the ranks that we have is, of course, S tier, the best, A, B, C, and D. I might want to... Nah. Will I have an F? I don't know yet. I don't know. We'll keep it for what it is right now. But, ooh, I might... Actually, I think I have an F already in mind. But we'll do it when we get there, okay? Abduction to love. I... Probably not. I have my own feelings about it because of... It kind of depends on the story. Oh my god, I'm already starting like with my previous tiering. It depends on the author kind of thing. Abduction to love doesn't have to be necessarily really icky and bad, but 9 times out of 10 I would say that it is. So I'm gonna put you as at a D because you're just skimming the surface, so to speak, that you could be fine. Age gap is also something that I have a lot of feelings about, and it very, very much depends on a few criteria. It depends on how young the younger person is, because if it's under 25, jail, straight to jail. You know, if it's over 25, then it becomes more of a situation of what stage in life are you in? Career, family, partners, whatever, life experience. Like, it becomes more about that as opposed to the proper age. I did read a romance book where, and I feel like this absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely do not normalize this. And that is that the dude, he was 42, I think 40 something, like early 40s. And the woman was like 23 or something along those lines. And he had actually been in her life, seen her several times from before, like when she was an actual child. And they ended up getting together. And I was like, absolutely fucking not. So even if the younger person is over 25, if the older person has watched them grow the fuck up, absolutely, like, F is not strong enough. Like, just, yeah, jail. If it's a 30 something together with a 40 something, yeah, whatever. Tend to be more on the, depending on where you're in, where in life you are, like life stages. So I'm gonna put age gap at D. We started with one of my biggest gripes. Anyway, moving on. Amnesia is also depending on how you do it, because amnesia, if one of the people is more like predatory, as in like using your amnesia in order to get to you, as opposed to, like, say, you're already in a relationship and they're taking care of you and you have like struggles because of that. I think that could be a very interesting concept, it could be very sweet or it could be super creepy. So I'm gonna put you at B because I don't hate it, but also, like, depends on what you do with it. That is like my go-to answer for everything. It depends on what you do with it. Angst. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge fan of angst. I've never really connected with this angst and longing and like whatever. So for me, it's like, it's not as bad as the like D, but I probably would avoid reading it if I could. Like if I was aware, I probably would avoid it, but it's not something that I'm gonna go, oh, this is terrible because of it. Arranged marriage, again, what it does with it, but I kind of enjoy it, that it could be very interesting to play with. And I love the kind of stories where arranged marriage is, you know, people go into it understanding what it is. It's kind of duty approach. And then it turns out that both people are good people and actually genuinely comes to respect and like each other. I mean, they don't have to necessarily fall in love, but at least coming to some sort of mutual understanding and respect. And then, of course, if because it's romance, eventually falling in love. That I can actually really enjoy, but it's 50-50 here, so I'm gonna keep it at B. Bad boy, good girl. I mean, I feel like it's overdone, but it is something that I'm willing to read. It's quite fun, even if I feel like, yeah, you know, been there, done that, read it. I'm not gonna say necessarily palate cleanser, but in that direction where it's just like, you know what you're gonna get. So just read through it and then you can get into this more experimental or heavy or whatever other kind of story. So it's just like a in-between book. Banter. I love banter. I love banter, especially when it's like good-natured, as in like everyone is involved, like give and take. It's not, you know, banter being, it's not abuse disguised as banter. It is an actually give and take situation, and everyone involved in the banter is aware that I don't actually mean those mean things I might be saying to you. That's kind of like in real life, just a good thing. Context is that I was running a online gaming community and we were focused on a lot of like strategy or like building games. And a lot of young boys were looking for communities in that so that they could play with other people, which was fine. But a lot of them that were, I want to say sub 15, there's a reason why we instated a 18 plus requirement after a while. But we had someone who was 12, 13 come in and immediately jumped into the type of banter me and another person had, who have like known each other for like 3-ish years. And it was way off. So just a tip for anyone who is a little bit social anxious or young or whatever is that everyone involved needs to be aware where you stand on a topic. Because if you jump in to a situation where, you know, dark jokes are being told and the people don't know you, they don't know what your views are, they don't know if you say that seriously or not. So give it some time to get to know people, let people get to know you before you just jump into this kind of already established repertoire. Just a just a little bit life lesson there. But that's why I love banter if it's done correctly, because if it's just like abuse and like all of that kind of stuff masquerading and hidden behind like, no, it's just banter, it's not. But actual banter, especially when it's like in a romance setting and they just kind of build on each other, that's why like in When Home Finds Us, that's a lot of it is there. It's very fun to write. So yeah, very much S tier for me. BDSM. Sorry, I just saw the image. I think BDSM could be fine. I think that a lot of people who write these types of things, specifically in romance, don't actually have a whole lot of BDSM safe play type of experience, or haven't done their proper like research on it. So there's a lot of stories out there that are saying, ooh, BDSM, but it's literally just sexual abuse is essentially what it is. And it very poorly reflects on the community that is very harsh on upholding safety and trust and all of those core aspects. Like you can't do BDSM on a healthy and ethical level without these core tenets. And a lot of people who write BDSM romance fail to understand that level of it. I've been doing a lot of research on this for very different reasons. I am following subreddits in order to learn research, all of that stuff. So I have a lot of information with it. I think it's kind of like it's fine for me. It's not something I require, but it's fine. I just think that a lot of romance authors don't do their due diligence or aren't really properly educated on BDSM and the core tenets of it, that is ethical and healthy and safe. So it becomes very violent and toxic and damaging and all the bad stuff, and it misrepresents the community itself. So 50-50. Best friend's brother, again, kind of in the middle for me. I have one of my favorite stories actually in the romance. Oh, it's called like My Best Friend's Brother. No, My Brother's Best Friend. It was actually really good because there was more to the story than just like hookup. But otherwise, I think like there are speaking of the BDSM and like alternative like lifestyles and stuff, there is something that called Messy List. And I think that a best friend's brother or brother's best friend definitely tend to be on that list. So it's like, ooh, depends on what's going on. Someone makes a bet. Oh, I'm a sucker for I'm a sucker for it. It can be so much fun when someone just makes a bet and then off it goes, and it just spirals into the story. I like it so much. It can be so much fun. Billionaire, I'm gonna put it C because like it's not like I hate it, but it definitely is a situation of, in the stories that I've read, like the billionaire stories that I've read, they are very lazy. It cheapens it, so to speak, because they are relying so much on just, oh, he's rich and hot, but there's not so much else going on. There are definitely exceptions to this, of course. I just haven't really come across them. But so I'm gonna keep billionaire in C. Drunken hookup, I don't like it. The reason is I actually saw it here. Hold on. Drunken hookup tends to also come. It usually comes with pregnancy, specifically like the unplanned or technically unwanted. There's been several times when I've come across this where the woman, specifically the main lead, specifically says, I don't want kids, and then ends up pregnant, most likely because of drunken hookup. And then suddenly she wants to be the best mother in the world, and like abortion doesn't exist and all of that stuff. That's a very big thing for me. Like I personally, like anything with pregnancy, I stop reading. Like I do not want to read. There's one book out there that I am willing to read because of that includes the unplanned pregnancy, and it is because that author, I have read pretty much everything from her, and she has delivered on the story outside of sex every turn, at every turn. This whole thing with the aversion, like if you end up pregnant, we're not even gonna have a discussion about whether or not abortion even is a thing for you or a choice for you. And it's just this assumption, like if I get her pregnant, that's the deal. Like there's no discussion, there's no like flexibility here, and that feels like an aggressively American influence on the romance genre. Because like I'm from Sweden, I live in Sweden, and here it's not that contentious of a point. If you want an abortion, get an abortion. If you don't want an abortion, don't get an abortion. Don't get into others' like choice, okay? It's a personal choice, but the choice should be on the table for you. And I hate it with a passion. I think that this one really is, can I add one? Fire and Fury, and I'm gonna make you gray because you don't even deserve color. So yeah. I have a lot of feelings regarding it. If people want to, like, if the whole story itself is about the people involved wants to have kids and all of that stuff, perfectly fine. I'm not gonna read that because I don't want to read those types of stories. But you do you, right? But pregnancy that is unplanned, and then this whole thing that I just ranted about happens, Fire and Fury. That's why, like, drunken hookup, it can work, but it usually leads to this pregnancy trope, and I'm like, you know? So on it in itself, it's fine. If it leads to this, fire and fury with ya, okay? Enemies to lovers. I can never be short-winded, can I? Because like I'm 20 minutes into this recording and I'm like a third through it. Okay, let's stop explaining everything. Enemies, she says, and then proceeds to explain everything. Enemies to lovers, I'm gonna put at C because I depends on what enemies mean. Because like if you killed my parents or the people I love, I'm not gonna fall in love with you because what? But if it's more enemies of like Romeo and Juliet style, where our families have a feud for some stupid ass reason that doesn't really have anything to do with us, sure. Like, where it's like enemies as opposed to like enemies, then I'm fine with it. Then I could actually like put it up here because it could be a very interesting storyline. But I don't think that's what people are talking about when they mean this. So I'm going to leave it there. Fake relationship. Okay, I'm a sucker. I really, really like the the whole setup of like, could you pretend to be my partner and then, oh, wow, you're actually a really good partner and you're very sweet. Like, I sucker for it. I like it. Okay. Forbidden love, as I was talking about before, forbidden love is how do I explain it? Yeah, forbidden love for me is more like, yeah, Romeo and Juliet, forbidden love. It depends, because if it's like Romeo and Juliet, I'm like, boring. But if we're talking more like Underworld, I'm all for it. I love Underworld. So maybe, yeah, I'll put it at B because it's just like, yeah, it could work, but like, it's interesting. Foreign romance. I'm gonna put it at D because I feel like foreign romance have a tendency to portray the foreigner or the foreign land in an extremely stereotypical way that is reinforcing stereotypes as opposed to showing the nuances of the country and everything. So it just boils down to the very stereotypes. And most of my personal, this is anecdotal, most of my personal experience with foreign romance is American authors writing about, specifically tends to be Spain, France, and Italy. Maybe like Britain as well. But those 4 countries that are the foreign stuff because it's so exotic kind of thing. It's very rarely like from Sweden or from Germany or Romania or even like Vietnam or whatever. It's very specific countries that are being used, and it's a little bit telling in my opinion. So it's not something that I seek out. I don't think that I'm not against it. But if that is the core aspect of why you're writing it, like, oh, it has to be a foreigner, then I think that the story should be something more than just, ooh, he's rich, foreigner, and hot, which usually is what is happening. Friends to lovers. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. It can be really sweet, can be really cute. Yeah, A tier. I really do like it. There's one more, and I don't know if it's in here, but I'm gonna say it anyway, and that's rivals to lovers. That is S tier. S freaking tier. Okay, I love rivals. When it's not hate or weird shit that enemies to lovers usually tend to be. If it's rivals, I will eat that shit up. Just leave me some recommendations with actual rivals, not enemies to lovers. Ooh. Yes, I love it. Huddling for warmth is cute. It's just cute. All right. Human X Vampire. Oh, I have a story that is this, and it is cute. It's so cute. But I shouldn't be too biased. But Human X Vampire, I do like the concept of it. I love this picture too. There's something inherently in that type of story that I really enjoy, so I'm gonna leave it there. I do like it. I do. Hurt comfort, yeah, it's neither here nor there. I don't like it when it goes, who hurt you? And then instead of like actually helping someone and taking care of them and letting them have their own agency and all of that stuff, it's more like, who hurt you? I'm gonna hurt them back. And then like, it's just like, okay, come on. Let's get out of your caveman era, okay? But so it's like 50-50. Like, so I'm gonna leave it at B. Insta love, hate it. Like, there's maybe a handful of times that insta love has actually, they've done something interesting with it that isn't just like, oh my god, we're in love, and then 3 days later they're married and have kids. You know. So it's almost down here for me. It's not fire and fury, but it's just something I'm like, oh my god, come on. So it will leave it at D. Loss of virginity, yeah, fire and fury. It is such a weird thing to do, to focus on. It makes me extremely uncomfortable because a lot of the times it's also tied in with this weird view and twisted view of femininity and masculinity and ownership and claiming. It's just weird. Like it just makes me feel really like ugh. So also virginity is a concept, like a structure, social concept that I really think that we should move away from. It's just a whole lot of religious shit going on with it, and I'm just like, move on, okay? Love triangle. Is it an actual triangle or is it a love V? Pretty much feel like it's been there, done that, and it tends to be very unoriginal. So, you know, mistaken identity could be fun. Depends on what kind of mistaken identity. Are we talking like because you're twins and now you're hooking up with your twins' husband? No. Mistaken identity for like more fun, bounty hunter kind of fun? Yes. It could be really entertaining. Mutual pining, it kind of goes along with angst for me. It's just like, get over it. Come on. If you're pining over someone, like, get to it, you know? One of them is famous, but I'm gonna keep it at C as well because it's depends. I've never been one to subscribe to this whole thing. I just saw the picture. Sorry. The pictures are cracking me up. It depends, right? Because I've never myself been someone who really bought into this, oh, if they're famous, they're better than me. So it depends on what the story is, but it's not something that I would necessarily avoid. It's not something that I seek out either. Partners in crime, I'm a sucker for it. What happened over here? Hello? What happened? Why can't I move things? Okay, I'm not allowed to drag stuff anymore. So, partner in crime. We're gonna do this wing it because I don't know what just happened. Partners in crime could be really fun. Sharing a bed is an A. I can't deny it. It's super cute. It's such a like, ooh, moment. Slow burn. If I'm in the mood for slow burn, that shit is A. If I'm not feeling slow burn, it's a C. So I'll even it out and say slow burn is a B. And then soulmates, ooh, okay. I have a lot of complicated feelings regarding soulmates. I think that it could be done really well and be very interesting. But most of the times it feels like a cop-out kind of thing. The same thing like soulmates insta lovey feels like a cop-out when you rely so heavily on that to be the motivator for actions and like propelling the story forward. If you are using it as a support, but the story itself is logical, makes sense, developing, all of that stuff, I really, really enjoy it. So a tier for that. When it's a cop out, it's a D for me. I guess I'll put it in C because unfortunately I've seen more of this than that. And we're done. I still can't move them around. I don't really know why, but it is what it is, right? Let me know down below what you agree with, what you disagree with, and which one is your favorite. Banter is obviously my top one. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why not? Anyway, thank you very much for being here. If you like this type of content, make sure to hit subscribe. Thank you very much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!